The arcades of the 80s and 90s were the place to go if you wanted to play the best versions of games. Forget about spending £89 on some crap churned out by Ocean Software or US Gold, and spend a day at the arcade instead. Play the best versions. Thing is, some of these arcade classics have not aged well. And in this video I'm going to look at 6 of the biggest name coin-ups of the day that absolutely suck playing them nowadays by emulation. Paperboy was released by Atari in 1984 in a period when they were trying fresh ideas out and were trying to move away from the bulk of the early 80s spaceship shooter gubbins. Tapper was, and still is, a fantastic job turned into a video game effort. Paperboy, however, isn't. That's not to say that this doesn't have its charms. The original arcade cabinet had a pair of bike handlebars as a novelty controller, and, to be honest, this game probably got more recognised for Elite Software's home ports to the 8-bit micros. The game is simple enough: deliver newspapers to brightly coloured subscribers' homes, and cause criminal damage to the darker homes of non-subscribers by putting bricks in your newspapers and lobbing them through the windows. Obviously at the orders of Rupert Murdoch, because he's trying to ram copies of The Sun down everyone's throats. Remember people, never buy The Sun, because it's full of lies. Anyhow, the reason why this classic has aged about as well as Keith Richards is down to the pacing. You just can't play this without adopting a stop-start method to play. It's all well and good flying along at a good old pace, smashing windows, but then you have to slam on the brakes just to make sure you don't miss a subscriber. It's really jarring and takes the fun out of it. Also, some of those enemies are plain unavoidable, especially the cars that seemingly knock you off your bike without you having any time to react. Even the assault course bonus stage that Atari put on the end of each round can't make up for this disappointing mess. Treat this arcade game like you would a real newspaper and just plain don't bother with it. Double Dragon was released into the arcades in 1987 and single-handedly transformed the beat-em-up genre. Taking control of Billy or Jimmy Lee, or Hammer or Spike as we were both known for a short while in the USA, your mission was to kick lumps out of the Black Dragon gang to reclaim your kidnapped girlfriend. Standard brawling game storyline right there. This game was a phenomenon back in the 80s, and rightly so. It wouldn't be until 1989 where the superb final fight would come along and knock it from its lofty perch. Nowadays, however, it looks and plays more like a homeless guy you would find lying in the slums. And this is down to 3 major flaws. Firstly, the game is far too short. The 5 different areas within the game are quite small in length and don't really feel that epic or amazing. Secondly, an arcade beat-em-up should not start grinding to a snail's pace when only 3 characters are on screen. It's noticeable enough in single player mode, even more problematic when played in co-op mode, and it just ruins the experience. The previously mentioned final fight had multiple large, well animated sprites on screen and suffered absolutely no slowdown whatsoever. Finally, and the most ridiculous of all these flaws, is that this game is a fundamentally broken mess. The whole point of coin-ops was to make money for both the developers and the arcade owners. When a game can be completed in a couple of credits by repeatedly using a stupidly overpowered and always connecting elbow move, you know you've cocked your fighting game up. Sorry Double Dragon, but admitting to enjoying you nowadays is like admitting that you used to enjoy watching Jim will Fix It on a Saturday tea time as a youngster. Fear not though, you are not alone in this list as a decrepit artifact of our massive fighting game series. That is coming up a bit later on. Midway released Eugene Jarvis's Defender at a time when the video game industry was starting to find its feet. Released alongside a plethora of space shooters such as Phoenix and Galaxians, this game is roundly acknowledged as the first scrolling shoot-'em-up ever. It certainly stands out, even today with its firework-worthy explosions. So back in 1980, it would have been a smash hit. Unfortunately nowadays, the charm is most definitely up sticks and buggered off. This got picked a couple of months ago for the RetroTech 120p arcade challenge and was received with groans of displeasure. It's not hard to see why. It suffers from a similar problem that plagues Paperboy, and that is the game is not allowed to float. You can fly as fast as you want towards enemies, they're too sudden difficult to hit at the best of times, but then you have to stop dead in your tracks just to kill anything. God help you if there's a cluster of baddies on screen. The controls are a bit crap as well, to be brutally honest. Why Midway decided to opt for 2 buttons to activate left and right is beyond me. Yes, I know it was commonplace back then for the other games to use this control method, such as Space Invaders, Galaxian or Phoenix, but these games didn't feature up and down controls. Also, why put a warp button in this game when the end result is 99.9% getting killed? Also, it's just too damn difficult for its own good. Other early arcade efforts like Donkey Kong and Pac-Man at least take it easy on you for the first few levels, giving you a chance to get a feel for the game. This throws you straight in at the deep end, with no water wings, with someone standing on your head. A game this hard is no fun, and I won't defend anyone who tells me Defender has stood the test of time. I hate to tear into Capcom's first real success, but it has to be done. The Japanese giants might be better known these days for the antics of Ryu and Ken, but back in the early days it was vertical Shmups they were known for. After Vulgus and Gunsmoke, this was a game that put them on the map. Truth be told, it's probably the best of the games on this list, as it's not actually a terrible shooter. It's just about as interesting to play as it has been watching the studios of Johnson, Whitty and Valance with COVID updates on TV this past year or two. It has some neat ideas though, with larger players coming up now and then, the ability to farm the loop that mostly gets you killed, and a power up that gives you 2 mini side planes that act as equity should you take a hit. It just does nothing really exciting though. My finger actually started getting sore and tired just collecting this footage, and there's only so much blue and green I can tolerate. Early 80s shmups were not known for their brilliant and vibrant backgrounds. Also of note is the soundtrack. I'd rather Capcom try and put some in-game music to this rather than constant ear raping and whistles. It sounds like a sugar rushing 4-year-old is constantly blowing one down your ear for the duration of play. Why go back and play this when much better vertical shooters will be released in the following years, such as Flying Shark and Slapfight, plus all the Cave Atlas ones that would follow in the early 90s. This game is akin to an elder grandparent shouting at clouds. It's had its day and is ready for the care home, but this effort is nowhere near as dreadful as another plane related shooter coming up in a bit. Every great fighting game series has to start somewhere. Even the mighty Street Fighter series wouldn't have grown to the mighty oak trees that it has without the little seed that was a dire first effort that's probably better known now for the sample speech that sounds like someone has got a mouthful of marshmallows. Midway created Mortal Kombat to take on Street Fighter 2, and just like Street Fighter 1, it's borderline unplayable compared to much later efforts. Mortal Kombat 10 and 11 are both brilliant, by the way. Lots of people complain about the digitised look of Midway games around this point in gaming, but I honestly like the look for this first game, and the controls are smooth and responsive, unlike Street Fighter 1, whereby constantly doing a Hadouken movement and smashing the punch button whilst hoping for the best was the key to success. Minigames too are pinned straight from Street Fighter as well, so if the game controls well and has fun bonus rounds as well as the ability to rip spines and hearts out, what's the problem? It's a cheap AI of the whole thing, having to be cheap to win by turning the entire match into a sweep or uppercut fiasco where Street Fighter 2 allowed combos lets this game down. Winning a game by being cheap instead of using any kind of skill drags the gameplay down to Double Dragon levels of mediocrity for me. Thank God the series has come on leaps and bounds nowadays. This effort though, if you see a cab of it in the wild, set it on fire and shout, "Toasty!" I'm fully expecting my comment section to blow up after including this popular title in this list. But it's got to be said, this game just isn't that good. Just like its equally as pathetic sibling, Space Harrier. Sorry, not sorry. For emulation purposes, I mapped all the controls to my gaming mouse, using left mouse for fire and the right mouse for rockets, and it works an absolute treat. But it also laid bare how boring and uninteresting this game is to play. In the arcades, this game came in two different flavours: a large hydraulic cab that moved in sync with the player's controls, a wonderful experience and one that no doubt brought in plenty of money for the arcade owners globally. The other cab was a blander affair that had been a vertical cabinet with a flight stick controller on it. Without these gimmicks however, the game is laid bare for what it is: a tepid, semi-on-rail shooter where you just find yourself constantly pressing your fire button in a vain hope of shooting enemy planes down, and pressing your rocket button whenever you get a lock on. Honestly, shooting down your targets as opposed to using rockets is all down to luck for the most part. This was released on the back of the excitement that the movie Top Gun created. One of the more quotable lines in this movie was, "I feel the need for speed." Well, I feel the need to go and play a better game. In my humble opinion, this game is the worst one on this list. So guys, that's my opinion. Do you disagree with them? Do you agree with them? Or is there some real stinkers out there that were good but now just absolutely suck? Let me know in the comment section. That's what it's there for. I've been Raven Gaming. Thanks for watching.